Okay, so we're up to Rabban Gamliel. So here, at this point in the Haggadah, the Bala Haggadah, he's really this is like the end of the Magid, and the Bala Haggadah brings Rabban Gamliel, who says something unbelievable. Rabban Gamliel says, "Kol shelo amashoshet dvarim eile bepesach lo yatsi yedei chavato ve'elohein pesach matzah ve'maror," which is a pella, because if he's talking about you're not yotze your chiyuv of magid, you're not yotze your chiyuv of higatzah lebincha if you do not mention these three things. Why do you have to mention the mitzvahs? You know, the mitzvahs achila of the night is Pesach, matzah, and maror. Yes, it's true, but those are mitzvahs achila. Why does Rabban Gamliel hold that that's ma'akev your din v'higatzah lebincha? What's the pshat in that? So it's a pella, just like pasha pshat. So here is where this is like the Bala Haggadah really hitting a home run over here. So we started way back, many shiurim ago, that we said, what's the chiluk between some saying Yitzias, Haskaras Yitzias Mitzrayim Baleilas and the chiyuv v'higatzah lebincha? So the chiyuv is, the difference is that v'higatzah lebincha it has a din of chayav adam laharas esatzmai, that you have to see yourself as you also came out. Right. In other words, here's the point. The point is that you have to make that, you have to say the story, right, and you have to get to this point of ki'ilu hu yatzam mitzrayim. Ki'ilu hu yatzam mitzrayim means that the lessons of Yetzias Mitzrayim are directly nogea to my life. They're directly nogea to my life. That is a chelek mahuti, an essential chelek of the chiyuv of higatzah lebincha. That is expressed in the mitzvahs halayla. In other words, you have mitzvahs that you're mechuyev to do, and the fact that you, me, us, we are all mechuyev in these mitzvahs 3,000 years later means that the Yetzias Mitzrayim is nogea to me. That's why I'm mitzvah in a mitzvah, and it's not just that I'm mitzvah in these three mitzvahs. In other words, the fact that I'm obligated in these mitzvahs shows me that I am also a part of the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim be'etzem. Otherwise, I don't need to be mechayev in Pesach, matzah or maror. I don't need to be mechayev in these things. That was then. This is now. But like we said all the way at the beginning that, like the Maharal explains, that the Nakuda is that you're also a nigal be'etzem. It's not grada. You're not just a nigal because it happened to be that you're the son of someone that was freed. No. Yetzias Mitzrayim was directly intended for us as well. And Memela, part of my saying over the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim has to include the mitzvahs, because the mitzvahs that I am obligated in show that this thing is nogea to me, because that's why I'm obligated in the mitzvahs that are the totzaot, that are the result of Yetzias Mitzrayim. So Memela, Rabban Gamliel says that if you don't mention these three things that you're obligated in the mitzvahs, you're not yotze yochiyuv of higatzah lebincha, because you haven't made that hadgosha of that it's nogea to you. Ki'ilu hu yatzam mitzrayim, right? Gavaldik, right? That is pshat in Rabban Gamliel. And Memela, we bring these three mitzvahs, and we'll see now. We'll explain each one of these three mitzvahs. That these three mitzvahs, the sort of the kav, the tzad hashava between them all is that they paint the picture of Yetzias Mitzrayim. That's what they do, right? It's the central mitzvahs of Yetzias Mitzrayim. It's obvious, right? But we're just explaining each how each one does that. And the three things that you have to mention is Pesach, Matzah, and Maror. Yeah? Yeah, can everybody hear? Akol Beseder? Metsuyan. Okay. So that's what Rabban Gamliel is saying. So Pesach, Matzah, v'Maror. Pesach שהיו אבותינו אוכלים בזמן שבית המקדש היה קיים על שום מה? על שום שפסח הקדוש ברוך הוא על בתי אבותינו במצרים שנאמר ואמרתם זה בפסח הוא להשם אשר פסח על בתי בני ישראל בנגפו את מצרים ואת ביתנו הציל ויקוד העם וישתחוו. So now, in other words, why did they do the Korban Pesach? It was b'schus the Korban Pesach and Dam Milah, right? Like we said at the beginning, that they were saved in Makat Bechorot. Right? So what's the Indian in Korban Pesach? So Korban Pesach is a very, very unique Korban among all the other Korbanos. It basically has a totally different Geder than any of the other Korbanos. All of the other korbanos in the Torah, which we're now learning because we've just started Sefer Vayikra, is all inyan shel kapara. It's all inyan shel kapara, which means that a person has fallen short, right? He's done some sort of aveira, and he needs to be niskaper. That is the inyan in korbanos. Right? Pesach has a totally different geder. Pesach has a geder of hachnosa lebris. In other words, coming into the Rishus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ramosh Shapiro always used to point this out, that the Gemara has a havamina that a ger sheniskaya has to bring a korban Pesach miyad. All right, so the Gemara makes droshes to say, no, Kolez Israel, that it's a din shaver for the whole but what's the havamina? What's the havamina bichlal that a ger should have to do it miyad when he comes in? So here you see that the tam of Korban Pesach is not like every other Korban. It's a din in hachnasa. You're going into the Rishus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? That's the geder of Korban Pesach. Now, right? This obviously, right? I'm saying it's eno tzarich lifnim. This is the point of the whole story that we've been speaking about. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings us into His world. We don't live in the normal Seder HaDvarim now. Now we live with Him. Right? And the Mefarshim explain that all of the dinim of Korban Pesach point this out. All of them. The Maharal has an amazing piece where he goes through all of the, in Perek Samach, I believe, in Gurus, where he goes through all of the dinim of Pesach Matzah Amora. He's talking about Rabban Gamliel. And here he says, he shows how all of the dinim of Korban Pesach are moire be'etzba achdus. One, right? Because what you're doing now is you're moving into the realm of achdus. In other words, you're moving into the realm of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So he says, for example, that the idin of etzem lo teshabru bo. You can't break any of the bones of the Korban Pesach because it has to be one. There has to be an achdus in the Korban. Dafka tzli, when you're and not mevushal. When you're tzolet something, what that does is it sort of is a mitstamek. In mitstamek means it. Right, it all comes together. I don't know how to translate that word. Right, yeah. So it all comes together. It tightens it. Right, it brings it all together. Right, that's what tzli does. All of the moisture leaves. Right, like a raisin. In Hebrew, a raisin is called simukim. Right, that's because it all comes together. Right, it makes one as opposed
condenses.
Condense. I don't know if condense is the right word, but yeah, it's azam inzach, right?
Mashu
kaze, right? Yeah. So that's the inyan, as opposed to mevushal. When you mavashal something, water we know dissolves and makes things go bigger, right? That's what it does. And when you mavashal something, it kind of expands it. You know, they said no. The whole inyan is to bring together, to show achdus, to show one, right? Because you're going into the rishus ha'echad. It's also a dafka. It has to be a keves ben shana, 1 year old. If it's 2 year old, it's pasul. He goes through all of the dinim, unbelievable, right? All of it is moira achdus, because the whole thing is that you're coming into the rishus of echad, yochid, umiyuchad, right? That's what you're doing when you're coming into the Korban Pesach, and obviously the Ramban ala Torah, right? In Parshas Bo, when he explains that when he explains the dinim of the Korban Pesach, he says this behedya, that the reason why Dafka a keves is because the inyan of Korban Pesach, the star sign of the month of Nisan is Mazal Taleh, right? It's Mazal Taleh, which is it's a sheep, and what we do is we shech the sheep because we're coming outside of the realm of the Mazalos and we're going into the Rishus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? In other words, you're not shaykh to that system anymore. That's the Ramban Behedya ala Torah, right? That's what the Ramban says, and you eat it. That's what eating is. Eating means that I control. When you are what you eat, as they say. And what that means is when I eat something, then I control that thing now, right? It's part of me, and as like I'm sholet on me, I'm sholet on that, right? That's what the inyan in the Korban Pesach is. It's all showing that you're coming into the Rishus of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. You're now above that thing. You're above the entire system. That is Mamash Yetzias Mitzrayim. And again, let's link it back to Rabban Gamliel. The fact that we, B'zman Hazeh, are chayev in Korban Pesach, it shows that the dinim of Yetzias Mitzrayim are be'etzem shayach to us as well. Right? Nora v'ayom. Right? And b'schus that, and we explained, that's what the Baal Haggadah says, that b'schus that we were saved in Makas B'choros, because Makas B'choros was that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was Megala himself, and anything that wasn't HaKadosh Baruch Hu dik was just batel. But because we now live in the Rishus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we have a shaychus with him, we were able to withstand the Gilu. Yeah? Right? So that's Pesach. Matzah zu she'anu ochlim al shumah. Matzah that we eat, why? Al shum shelo hispik batzikam shel avatinu lachmitz ad shenigla lahem melech malchei melachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu ga'alam shenema ve'afu et habatzek asher hotzim mimitzrayim ugot matzot ki lo chametz ki gershu mimitzrayim ve'lo yachul litmamea ve'gam tzeda lo asu lahem. So the inyan in matzah is Rizus. The inyan in matzah is Rizus. It's all, there wasn't enough time, and everything happens quickly, and that's you can't really speak about in my humble opinion, you can't really speak about matzah anymore without bringing this Pachad Yitzchak, which we spoke about previously, but just to expand, to go into more what the Pachad Yitzchak says, right? This, in my opinion, this is now, it becomes like bread and butter. No bread, well, matzah and butter, I suppose, right? It becomes there's a good word for this thing, compulsory reading, right? That if you want to understand the inyanim of matzah, so he has this amazing piece where he, the inyan in matzah is Rizus. Ushmartem es hamatzahs. Right? In other words, the Ikar Lishma is Shima from Chimutz. Right? And Ushmartem es hamatzahs means that you have to watch, you have to make sure it doesn't become chametz, and the way that you do that is that you keep the dough moving and you get on with it. Right? It has to be fast. Right? Anybody that's done matzah baking knows about that. Right? So and he brings the Chazal, right? And that says that they make a play on the words, not matzahs, mitzvahs, ushmartem es mitzvahs, mitzvah v'alayadcha al tachmitzena, right? Don't get on with a mitzvah. And the Maharal says, everything I'm saying, he brings, right? I'm literally just saying over his piece right now, right? He brings the Maharal that says that just like you understand by matzah, if you do mess around and you faff about and you don't get on with it, it's pogem the matzah. It's pogem the matzah. When you faff about in mitzvahs, you are actually also pogem the mitzvah as well. It's not just, don't understand that mitzvahs are mitzvahs, and it doesn't matter whether you did it b'zrizus or not. It's the same quality of mitzvah. It's just you missed out on another mitzvah, another inyan, a separate inyan to the mitzvah of just doing it quickly, of doing it b'zrizus. No. Mitzvah b'aliyadcha al tachmitzena means that you're actually causing a greyasa in the mitzvah because you're machnisit tachas hazman. That's what the Maharal says. So the Pachad Yitzchak wants to understand this. The Pachad Yitzchak wants to understand this. So we explained this. We spoke about this, that he brings the Gra, right? The Gra that says, that explains that there was Bereshis Bereshis bara Elokim was also a mimer. And what was the thing that was created in Maisa Bereshis with the mimer of Bereshis bara Elokim? What was the thing that was created? Was time itself, which is the background to the entire Bria. It's the most subtle level of Gashmias. It's the background that allows the whole Bria to progress and to move. That's what Zman is. That was the very, very first thing, right? That and the most subtle level of the Bria itself. But it's part of the Bria. It's part of the Bria. It's part of the Ma'arechet Hagashmi. And that was the first level of Bria. And says like this. So says the Pachad Yitzhak an amazing thing. He says, when you're doing a mitzvah, you're doing a pa'ula that connects you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what you're doing. Any mitzvah is a chibur between the mitzvah and the mitzvah. You're doing a pa'ula that brings you up, mamash, right, to the realm of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you're breaking out of all levels of the Bria, and you're coming into His Rishus. That's what you're doing. Right? Says the Pachad Yitzhak, understand that Zrizus by us, by a Jew, is not just a function of just getting that which you want quickly. It's not Shatin Zrizus. That's not what Zrizus is by a Jew. And he proves that. You learn the piece, amazing piece. Right? He says that Zrizus is by us, is an attempt to break out of all levels of the Bria, including time itself, because you want to go into the realm of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that is Haya, Hoive, V'yihye, U'mahave Esakol. You want to live in the realm of the Ein Sof. You want to come into the Rishus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu Himself. That's what you're doing. Right? That is what you're doing, right? when you do Bezrizis. You're not letting even when you don't do a mitzvah of Bezrizis and you let the Ma'arechet of Zman sort of stretch out and be chala on the mitzvah, you're being poigem the mitzvah, because you're now putting that mitzvah tachat the Ma'arechet of Zman, right? You want that the mitzvah is done, bang. As soon as it's incumbent on you to do it, it's done straight away. There's no level of the Bria that is sholet on that thing, including time itself. That's Pshat in Zrizus. The Zrizus by us, right, is an attempt to break out of all levels of the Bria and to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu Himself and His world, which is Haya Hova V'yihya. He's above time. He's outside of everything, right? That's what Zrizus is. Right? This is matzah. This is what matzah is. Matzah is, it's bread that has no time, right? The difference between matzah and everything else is just zman. It's lechem that's done bezrizis, right? It's lechem that's done bezrizis. In other words, there's no time that's sholet on this thing, right? It's you just get on with it. You make it miyad. It's the lechem of zrizis, right? That's what it is, right? That's what you're doing when you're eating matzah. And the Maharal also points this out in his derech, that matzah shows chayrus, right? That the Indian in matzah is chayrus, which he says, and that's why matzah has to have nothing. In other words, matzah is the bare essentials. It's just flour and water. There's nothing else. Matzah ashera, you're not yotze yochiyuv. You're not yotze yochiyuv with matzah on the Leila Seder with matzah ashera. Matzah ashera is when you put wine or oil or other things in it. Right? It has to be dafka lechem oni. Lechem oni means that there's nothing to it. There's nothing to it, because the whole Indian in matzah, it's all being moira on chayrus, right? Chayrus from chayrus, right? Freedom. And he says like this, says the Maharal, dvarim hamurkavim, things that are murkav, in other words, they have many parts to it, that's not called chayrus. That's not called chayrus, because when something is murkav, it's mushba, it's affected by the other thing, right? In other words, sorry, you have to forgive me. That was a chosh of a person which I had to decline. Okay, so he explains that a davar murkav means that when something has many parts, so the core of the thing, right, is always affected. You know, it's like what Chazal say. Marbe nechasim marbe da'aga. When you have lots of things, right? So you're mushba from those things, right? And that's why you have a lot of daigers, right? Because those things now affect you, right? Chayris means that there's nothing. Nothing affects you. There's nothing giving its hashpah on you. So matzah, or the matzah of Leila Seder is nothing, nothing, nothing. Right? There's nothing to it. Just flour and water, and there's not even time. Nothing. Right? There's absolutely nothing because it all represents chayris. And again, it's the same inyan of coming out of the Marechet Hagashmi and living in the Mareches of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? Living in His world. Right? That's matzah. No zman. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Right? So that's matzah. Maror zeh shanu achlim al shuma. Al shum shemeru mitzrim es chayei avasein b'mitzrayim shenema v'yimar es chayim b'avodah kasha v'chol mevin v'chol avodah b'sadeh ve'et kol avodatam asher avdu b'hem b'farech. Right. So now, we mentioned the maror and we mentioned the shibud. So why do we mention the shibud? So the reason why we mention the shibud is because the shibud served the tachlis. Like we explained when we discussed the shibud, the pasuk in the Haggadah of the shibud, it was all there to break Klal Yisrael down and get them down to their core, right, and to be megale their mahus as Avdei Hashem, and that needed the shibud was necessary for that. So you can understand, you can look into this and what are the the Mefarshim and the Gdolei HaAchronim, they explain different milas that Klal Yisrael were kind from the shibud, right? But in other words, the nakuda is that the shibud gave something to us, gave something to Klal Yisrael that they took with them after the Geula. It was part of the reason. It was a necessity to bring them to the Geula. And therefore we mention the moral because we, Bezman Hazeh, are still being yonek from what Klal Yisrael gained from the shibud. And the what's it called? The Maral says something amazing on this as well. He points out that Mora is not Doraisa Bezman Hazeh. Right? Mora is not Doraisa Bezman Hazeh. It's only Doraisa when there's a Korban Pesach. When there's no Korban Pesach, matzah by itself is still Doraisa. There's a dion in the Gemara about that, but the halacha is that matzah is Doraisa. It's not totally on the Korban Pesach. Mora is totally on the Korban Pesach. Right? It's totally on the Korban Pesach. When there's no Korban Pesach, there's no Mora Midoraisa. So he says amazing. So he says that the reason for that is because Ra Shela Atzmo, it has no place by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tsar by itself has no place. In other words, it says that there's no Ra that comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Nothing bad comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's all L'toiv. So when Pesach is Deoraisa, in other words, the Geula, the thing that brings you to Machas B'choros and brings you into the Rishus of Kadosh Baruch Hu, is Deoraisa as well. So then the Mora can have a Deoraisa as well, because the whole point of the Mora is to bring you to Pesach. But if there's no Pesach Midoraisa, so there's no Mora either. No? Norava Ayov. Right? But that just points out the reason why I'm telling you that is because here's the point. The reason why we're speaking about the Mora Bichlal is because the Mora had a positive effect in the bringing us to Geula. Right? So fine. So that's where you mention these three things. And again, so therefore Rabban Gamliel says that we have to mention all these three things because all of these things are actually happening to us. That's what you're doing on the Leila Seder. The Leila Seder, you're coming into the Rishus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You're doing it again. We're being lifted up into His Rishus. That's what the Leila Seder is about. That's and it's happening. It's going to happen again. It's going to happen in a few days' time. We're going to be lifted up into that thing. We know this that this is Rav Dessler. He points this out that Yomim Tovim by us are not commemorative. They are not commemorative. We don't just do things to remember. They actually happen. Right? Something is happening in the Bria. Right? That it's a reliving. Right? The shefa that Hakadosh Baruch Hu put into the world. on those days is accessible again, and you can tap into that, and you can be lifted up, and that's what's going to happen. We're going to be lifted up. And Mamela says, Rabban Gamliel, we have to mention that it's shaykh to us. It's shaykh to us. That's part of the sipur of Yetzias Mitzrayim. And then you get to the culmination, right? This incredibly inspiring moment when, once you've done all of this and you've read through this, this you get to the Hallel, and it's amazing, right? And you say, B'chol davadah chayav adam lirot et atzmo ki'ilu hu yatsa miMitzrayim. You have to see yourself as you came out. Shenema v'higadta lebincha b'yom. The whole Haggadah was getting to this point. This is the tachlis. This is the tachlis, right? You should now understand that you've spoken about the story and you've gone into the details and what it's about and what it did for you, right? And you mentioned that it's shaykh to you now. בכל דברו חייב אדם לראות את עצמו כאילו הוא יצא ממצרים, שנאמר והגדת לבנך ביום ההוא לאמור בעבור זה עשה השם לי בצאתי ממצרים. לא את אבותינו בלבד גאל הקדוש ברוך הוא. Not just our fathers did he redeem, אלא אף אותנו גאל עמהם, שנאמר ואותנו הוציא משם למען הביא אותנו לתת לנו את ארץ אשר נשבע לאבותינו, so that he can bring us there, so bring us to Geula. And then you go into lefikach, and therefore anachnu chayavim lo. We have to say thank you. Anachnu, we, right? Chayavim lohodot, lehalel, leshabech, lefel, lehadel, levarech, lehalel, lekales, lemi she'asa levatim lanu et hanesim ha'elu, hotzianu us me'avdut lechirut, me'agon lesimcha, me'evel yom tov, me'afel legadol, u'meshivut legavan nama chadashah. Hallelujah, right? Here's the point. You see, it's amazing. It's like when you see this mahalach through the Haggadah, right? How he's built you. He's mamash built you up to this point. There could be nothing more appropriate now than to say Hallel. Right? It's not just like stum. Right? Yeah. So now, and the Bala Haggadah does this very, very interesting thing. Very interesting. Right. He splits up the Hallel. He splits up the Hallel. The first two prokim we say now, and then you say the bracha of Ga'al Yisrael, and then you carry on with the rest of the Hallel after the Shulchan Aruch and the Birkat Hamazon. Right? Why did the Baal HaGadah do that? Why did he split up? Why did he split up the Hallel now? Just say the whole Hallel later. So if you look at the first two prokim of the Hallel, you'll see that the first two prokim mamash speak out the inyan of Higat Zelbina. Everything that we've been speaking about is in the first two prokim of the Hallel, right? And that's why the Baal HaGadah puts it here. When you have said this story of us coming into the Rishus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, being lifted up, right, being mitromem, right, to a new Metzias. And then you say it's shaykh to me, and therefore I have to praise the HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Baal HaGadah says, before you say the bracha on the second kos, be mahalel, start the Hallel now, because you'll see these two prokim, mamash speak this inyan now, and it's incredible. Let's just read them, right? Hallelujah, hallelujah avdei Hashem, hallelujah avdei Hashem, hallelujah Hashem Hashem, He Shem Hashem of Rachmata v'Elam Yizach Hashem Shemom Hashem Ram al kol goyim Hashem, He's above. Al Hashemayim kivodo, al, right? Mi kashem Elokeinu, hamagbihi lashavet, He lifts you up, right? Hamashbili lirot b'shamay, hamashbili lirot b'shamay. No, magbi lashavet means maybe that means he sits out on high. Hamashbili lirot b'shamay maretz, but he comes down and gets involved. And what does he do? Mikimi me'afar dal, he lifts up the dal. Me'ashpot yarim evion, the person that's low, that he has nothing, that he's in the filth, me'ashpot, in the ashpa, he lifts him up. Yarim, he lifts you up, right? Lo hashivim nedivim, to sit amongst princes, right? Im nidivei amo, he brings you up to the level of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Those are the princes, right? He sees what's going. He lives up on high. He sees what's going on down here, and he comes down and he lifts you up. Pasha lifts us up, and he brings us up to the darga of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. He takes someone that has no future. Akeret Abayit means someone that has no future. There's no atid, right? And he sends you that, and he gives you a tachlis. He gives you a future. He gives you an asid, right? And that's what he did with us. He Pasha lifted us up and gave us tachlis, right? Amazing, right? It's mamash the Inyan, as they say in Hebrew, bull, right? It's exactly the Inyan, right? And then the second one is Pasha. But said Yisrael in Mitzrayim, Bet Yaakov me'am loez, hayta Yehuda lekosho, yisem shotav, hayam ra ve'anos, right? It's all about Kriyas Yamsuf. Then Yisov lacho, harim l'kedu kerim, givan l'keson. Who are you running from? Who are you running from? Milifnei Adon Choliaretz, Milifnei Elohai Yaakov, the God of Yaakov. In other words, our God, right? In other words, us. Right? That he runs this whole show, right? It's all Yitzias Mitzrayim. It's all Yitzias Mitzrayim. And then you say the bracha, right? And you say Ga'alanu, Ga'alev Avatenu Mitzrayim, V'gianu la'azeh, Lechol Matzah Maror, and you say the bracha, and then you say and Bezod Hashem will be able to do the Korban Pesach again, and then you say this amazing bracha of Gad Yisrael, and you make the second bracha. That is it. That is it. Right? Now you see how there is mamash one story. The Baal HaGod is telling you a story. He's telling you something that happened, and you see how there's this kav that just is there from the beginning of the Magid until the end. Right? So we got to the end of the Magid. Baruch Hashem, Mazal Tov. Right? So we'll see. Maybe we'll talk. Okay, we'll have to see. Maybe we'll do something about the Hallel and the end. We'll see. All right, we'll think about that.